Hello, hi, guy. It's your favorite four-eyed guy here, Buitelo. And Gajino Kenales Sifiso. How are you, Sifiso?
Good on you.
I'm great, thanks. Sifiso is an entrepreneur, a creative from the East Rand, Leon Dale. How feel Kasiaka Fosloras? You know what's up? Anyway, today the business of business. What business are you in?
Geez, that's a question.
There we go.
I still don't even understand it sometimes.
Okay.
But I've coined it to say I'm a visual content creator. So I deal with a lot of things visual.
Yeah.
Creative direction, art direction, personal styling, image consulting, editing, as in writing, I'm an editor.
Yeah.
I do event curation, I've dabbled into art curation. Yeah, so all things visual, that's where my main workforce and entrepreneurial skills come from.
Cool stuff. I heard like an extra part to the quote that I commonly hear about being a jack of all trades,
Yes,
but a master of none. But the addition to that, there's an addition to it, and it's master of, yes, but it's better to be
A master of what? What did I say again?
it's better to be
I know it.
I know it too. I heard it this morning.
Trades is a master of none, but
It's better to master. It's better. This is gonna
Google it.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google it and put it down here. Anyway, here we go.
Yeah,
so
but no, it makes sense.
it does.
The
It's
last
better.
part,
Yeah, the last part of it refers to how it's better not to it's better to have more than just to be a jack of more than just one trade. And in this day and age, I mean, we hear it a lot that depending on one source of income is quite dangerous.
Correct.
So being a jack of all trades probably is the best thing to be right now.
In hindsight, like with me, I'm not saying I'm a master of one. It's because everything on my side is visual. I use all these skill sets that I have.
They're related.
But the main thing is my master skill set is my visual intake, or my output, or my input, or whatever I do.
Yeah.
So I can essentially say that's my master skill set.
That's your master skill set.
Yeah.
Okay, cool stuff. What influences from your upbringing motivated you to be a wealth creator or an entrepreneur?
Nothing.
So how did it come about?
I, for the longest time, even now, to be honest, I've always wanted to be a doctor. More specifically, a neurothoracic surgeon, or a what's this? No, a cardiothoracic surgeon or neurosurgeon.
Oh, okay.
Doctors,
Yeah, you speaking terms that I'm unfamiliar with.
I-
I'm sure hona le ba hlalefileng ba shebileng ba re, yeah, Sifiso is one of them.
So, to be honest, I used to even say to myself that I want to cut people for a living, right? I felt like medicine really was a part of me, to a point where I nearly went to medicine to study. I applied, got in. I was supposed to go to Cuba, Havana, to study my degree.
Wow, okay.
Unfortunately, things happened there health-wise, so I couldn't go. So I think that's where my mindset said, okay, you've been literally working so hard for one thing, one journey. I think now it's time for you to really open your mind and diversify.
Okay.
But not necessarily in entrepreneur or being an entrepreneur or anything in the creative side.
Sure.
I still focused in sciences. So I have a degree in physics that I've never used in my life.
But do you think in some degree, hanyane fela in certain aspects of what you do on a daily basis, there's something that you took from your degree?
I took from how to deduce things, how to find things, how to compartmentalize, how to tick boxes. That's what I took from it.
So the structure of it.
The critical thinking of things, how I visually think about what I want to do, because if let's say I'm doing event curation, it's not like I'm just going to be calling out DJs and doing out curation and calling people in. It's also mathematics of some sort to say, when are you going to be posting this? Who is your clientele? What type of sponsorship do you want? All of those things are calculated.
It's data nonetheless.
So, but on your question, why I say nothing is that on my side, it was never my first point of call. It was life, like literally just knocking on my door or whispering to say, go this side, go this
This
side,
is the way.
This is your way. Don't mind the one that you want. To a point where I even remember the first time a friend of mine, Adrian Abrams, he wanted to do photography. And he asked me what type of photography I wanted to start in. And I said, I think fashion, because fashion is very multifaceted as opposed to maybe nature or architectural photography. I might be wrong, but that was my opinion at that time. So he started there, and he wanted me to style one of his shoots. But I was very apprehensive at the time because for me, I knew nothing about fashion. I only just dressed myself and go about my day. So I think that's where the spark really started. And also, watching fashion TV was my Bible. Ugly Betty, Gossip Girl, Sex and the City, visual things. I'd always look at clothing, and I'd always look at how they personify the person and how clothes are personified themselves. That's where I think I got my take on visual aesthetics in the fashion industry.
Okay, cool stuff. But you touched a little on like exposure, right? Your fashion TVs. But what was the kind of exposure that you got growing up that led you to this kind of career that you're doing?
It was firstly, with what I just said, definitely fashion TVs and all the TV shows that I watched exposed me subliminally to the life
unconsciously
to the life that I'm living now. Because with fashion TV, in terms of seeing runways, doing shoots, I've done that, got a t-shirt. To running a publication, I've done that, got a t-shirt. In reference to Ugly Betty. That, to be honest, I even remember when I got the opportunity to run a publication, I said to myself, I know nothing about this. I had to research and do all of that. But then in hindsight, I was thinking to myself, hey, I remember Ugly Betty, I remember Wilhelmina, who was the creative director, I remember the editor-in-chief, I remember what roles they were playing. Subconsciously, as you're saying, right? So for me, it was a thing of, no man, I got this. And I, with my then business partner, because they started it, right? And I came into really understanding what the brand is about. The magazine, and it's called Ilaplam African Fashion Journal.
All right.
Ilaplam is called
Ilaplam, my cloth.
My cloth. So I started there to understand what is the intention that I want to bring into this publication. And for me, at that time, was to promote and support local, and when I mean local, I mean in Africa. Fashion creatives, giving them a platform. Right.
I'm glad that you see Africa as a local. Because I struggle with South Africans that will say, Africa. Hey, but now where do you come from? Your country's name is literally South Africa. There's nowhere else you come from. So I'm glad that you feel that the whole of actually maybe even the whole diaspora, because I feel like we Earthlings. Why the hell should I be like called a South African? I want to be called an Earthling. I am of Earth. I wasn't born anywhere else besides here. So all of Earth is my territory.
It's just unfortunate that the world
is not structured like that.
And it has created impediments indeed for us to really realize that we are separate as opposed to that we are whole. So for me, I want to bring, with all my content that I've created and continue to create, personal content, not content that I create for my clients, but I use a semblance of that. Like my personal content when I work with creatives, I want to bridge that gap and bring Africans together. That's my main goal in life.
Bring Africans together.
I just want to bring our home and us celebrating us for us.
Is Sifiso sakho leso.
Yeah.
Okay.
My namesake.
Indeed. Mentors and role models that impacted your entrepreneurial journey in a significant manner.
I wouldn't say entrepreneurial per se.
Okay.
But the work ethic is my mother.
All right.
Yeah, and my late mother. She, for me, that's the one person in my life who, that's where I got the sense of I can do 15 things at once. Yeah, she was an educator, she was a social worker, she was a community leader, she was this, she was that, and I could just see the passion in her that involves human beings. And for me, that's where I got to, no, I don't have to do one thing. Initially, remember with medicine, it was a thing of and focusing on one thing, specializing, and because you are a doctor, essentially,
you need to they say you're specialized,
and then, but it takes so much time in your lifetime to get there. So that's why I guess when my journeys end essentially into medicine, when I opened my mind, I was like, no man, there's my reference point the entire time.
Sure.
Yeah. So definitely my mom.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of work ethic, entrepreneurial, again, I never had an entrepreneurial heart in a sense. Yeah. But she also essentially planted that seed, because I remember me and my brother, we used to sing some chocolate at primary school, because she said, no, you must make your own money, you must make your own lunch money. So it's that independence.
It's actually that kind of exposure, because imagine if we are all told that, how much more of a difference it makes. Because a lot of us grow up believing that at some point, when you grow up, then you start making money. And yet there's billionaires who are 12 years old right now.
Exactly.
That's the world we're living in. And it's because I'm sure their parents taught them that, look, go make this money. You don't need to be a certain age. You don't need to be a certain sex. You just have to have the creativity and the will and the work ethic.
And create independence. I feel like it's stemming from your show, Wealth Creators. Wealth for me means to create independence, or resource means to create independence, because we all are here to do what we do best and love. Right? And I feel like garnering independence in whichever form of way it means, that is wealth to me. I think I'm answering one.
Yes, you're definitely going back there, but we'll come back to a more in-depth answer of that question. Losing is a big part of the winning game. How do you deal with your L's? How do you overcome your losses? And what are some of the most important lessons that you've learned from your losses?
I don't even call them lessons.
What do you call them?
They are gracious experiences.
Okay.
I love losing. I know, obviously, because it has an emotional toll. And that's the first thing that you'll go through.
Sure.
But for me, it's after the emotional toll and after you've come back, it is looking into the lessons, as you're saying. What have I learned? What am I learning? What can I do better? For me, my main thing is I love creating solutions for myself. And when I lose small, I lose big. I'm like, what is the solution here? What could I do better for myself and for my business? And for me, I strive to look at them in a positive manner. Sometimes it's very difficult to see them in a positive manner.
Quite challenging.
And I think maybe that's where the challenge lies for all of us. But I feel like if you come back and look at it in a positive manner, and to see, okay, maybe let's say whatever big loss I happened to me 2 years ago, and now I can really see the pink or red flags to say, don't do this again, because you already know what's going to happen, and you already found the solution for it. Remember, sometimes the solution can come after 10 years, or 2 years, or 3 months, but as long as you're patient enough to learn from your losses, when the gains are there, they exponentially rise. So that's why I love losing. Wow. I feel like it's something that we all need to realize and learn from.
Yeah.
It's important.
I'm taking that with me. I'm gonna learn to love losing, embrace it more, because for me, losing means you're playing the game.
Yeah.
That's the end all of it, because you are in the game.
I
And
would disagree a bit. Sorry for interjecting.
no, go ahead.
I won't say losing is playing the game. Losing is enjoying the game.
Oh, cool. I said you are in the game, so yes, you are enjoying the game as well.
Yeah, you're present with it.
Yeah.
Because then, if you are playing the game, for me, is you're trying to be calculated, as opposed to creating things from the heart.
Yeah.
So for me, wealth comes easier when you do things that come from your heart and your soul.
I see.
Because then, even if you get R1, or even if you get 100 million, for you, it's the same amount.
Yeah, because you're doing it for the joy of doing it.
Yes, you're not doing it for I need.
For any accomplishments that come.
Yeah.
It being like someone said, the point of a song is not to get to the end of the song. It's to enjoy the song, to listen to the song. So that you're making music. Yeah. Making music is not about getting to the end of the song. It's about making the music and enjoying it. I like that too. I think someone it was Ellen Watts who mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
Ellen Watts, yeah. Okay, so what keeps you amped up and motivated?
Music, number one.
Okay. Mina now silapho together, same WhatsApp group.
Number one, I can never live without music.
Indeed.
Ever. For my creative outlet, for my personal well-being, for my emotional well-being, for just music existing is beneficial for me. So I've always collected music, and I've always had this insight of listening to small nuances, being critical to it, enjoying it, and immersing myself, right? And another way of how I amp myself up is personal interaction.
Cool.
I love meeting people, and I love conversing with authentic people. Right? I think for me is
what is authenticity?
It's a feeling for me.
Okay.
If I feel like, okay, you are present with me, when I'm present with you, you are authentic enough for me.
Okay.
And I will allow myself to speak about who I am, and you'll do the exact same thing. And me learning about you 110% of the time inspires me to either create something, or I love creating stories, and narrative based on conversations create stories, right? Definitely. So for me, it's whatever thing I do needs to have a specific intention or foundation that comes from it. So human interaction for me is very important. Awesome. And not only when I mean interaction in terms of conversing, you walking down the street
is an interaction,
and you are wearing like your shoes because now I see them the black, white, and gold, and I can take that. And maybe I'm thinking of a music video that I am styling. I'm thinking, yeah, man, I'm missing a Dijon mustard type of hat in that look. Already I'm done with work. Yeah, for me it's very organic. Sometimes calculated.
Everything feeds into your creativity.
Yeah.
I see. I like that. Mental health. I think you just touched on it. Music helps you with your mental health.
Yeah.
What other ways do you maintain mental health, and have you found it to be important in your life?
Silence.
Okay.
Silence is very important to me.
Okay.
I have a forthcoming personality, and I'm welcoming to a lot of people in my life. And because you're creative, you meet a lot of people.
Indeed.
And you need to interact and what's that word? Network.
Yes.
So for me, silence holds me back. You're saying, okay, be with yourself, understand yourself, breathe.
Yeah.
Essentially, for me, that's the sense of meditating.
Yeah, no,
like
meditation
silence,
for sure.
I will go into my bedroom, I will close my door. Sometimes I'll even close my blinds.
So that it's dark. Yeah.
Sure. Sometimes it's not even needs to be dark. It's whichever one. But as long as I'm in a bubble of silence and I don't want to talk, sometimes I feel like people around me, if I get to that space, they think that there's something wrong. And for me, it's like, there's nothing wrong. I just want to be silent for today. Even if maybe I'm amongst you, I just want to be I don't wanna immerse myself at that time.
Yeah.
It's because I'm practicing the level of silence.
Okay.
So that I balance
Yes.
my thought process and my heart process.
That is it. Balance. I don't think people understand balance as much as they should, because you're right. When I go silent, people assume there's something wrong. Or sharp. That's the question they ask. Yes, get sharp. If the opposite of me you're okay with me talking, you should be okay with the other side, because these strike a balance. I find it weird when people say, I hate summer. But then summer and winter, they go together.
Yeah.
You can't hate, you have to embrace it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you embracing your silence helps you with your mental health.
And empathy is important with creating balance within mental health.
Okay.
People need to learn to be more empathetic.
Indeed.
For themselves and for the world they live around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will create much more balance for them. It's difficult, but it's possible.
It's a challenge. Well, it's a challenge, but it's a challenge worth taking on.
Yeah.
Maintaining good relationships is a very important part of business. How do you maintain good relationships, and what are some of those valuable relationships in your business?
All of them.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, all of them. I had mentioned that I do quite a lot in my work. I'm fortunate enough at this present time that I don't need to have one income stream. Right? It has taken a long time. There's this saying whereby it says you prepare for 10 years for your grace. So I feel like I've prepared 25 years
for your grace. Yeah.
For my grace.
Yeah.
So for me, it is all of them I value. The ones that whereby they gave me opportunities to style for free, or to create concepts for free, or they paid me menial amounts of money, or they cheated me. I value all of them because they have brought me to where I am now. Right? Yeah. Short and sweet.
Very short and sweet. Speaking of good relationships, what are some of your most valued relationships, like personally?
Yeah. My late mom, definitely. My brother, my twin brother, definitely is my sounding board.
Is he a creative like you?
Now,
okay,
I would say so.
Yeah.
He started in, we were vastly different.
Yeah.
He's the more authentic entrepreneur.
Okay.
He studied small business management. He did a lot of project management at the company that I was working for.
Yeah.
Built up into being a marketing executive and all of that jazz. So he was always the one who wants to start things, right? DJing, he's been a music curator for I think 11 years now. So for me, he was more of an entrepreneur. I was more, as I said, in the sciences.
Yeah.
But then in the creative outlet, I kind of swayed in, right? And he focused more on building businesses for other people.
Sure.
Right? But now she has the best of both.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool stuff. Paying dues. What are some of the dues that you've had to pay, and what are the dues that you are still paying right now to be where you are?
Okay. Doing things for free. I think all creatives have done that, and for me, it's a positive thing because you create experiences for yourself.
Indeed.
And you garner experience.
And relationships.
Relationships. For me in my portfolio, some of my work that I've done for free, and I put it in my portfolio because it's work that I've done.
Yeah.
Or if it's work that I'm proud of.
Sure.
Right. Because sometimes you do work, you're like,
I know that feeling.
I'm not gonna do this today. Yeah. Some of the work I'm like, this is a part of my journey. So definitely that's the main thing for me. Paying dues right now, no, I'm not. To be honest, I'm not paying any dues.
Okay, cool stuff.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Books. shape our perspective. What are some of the books that shaped your perspective?
The book I just mentioned, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Just to really gauge in terms of how different we are and how you can use your personality to really focus on the things that you want to do. Right? The one that is a Bible to me is The Shack by William P. Young.
Ooh, okay.
That it talks about God in a way that at that time, which was a good 12 years ago.
Yeah.
At that time, I've never experienced God.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not necessarily religious, but at that time, because as Black people, I literally lived through Christianity. Like I did everything. Name it, I did it.
Yeah.
You know. So reading this book really changed my perspective
on it,
and understanding that being a spiritual person, connecting to whomever you connect to, right, is much more essential than decorum for me. Or religious decorum for me. It works for others, doesn't work for others. You can be both, and it's fine. But for me, that book really, and I always go back to it when I feel like maybe I'm in disconnect. With things that are higher than me. I always go back. And this other book, The Science of Everything, I forgot. He's Krishna. He talks about Krishna and Hinduism and philosophy of life. Just forgot the author.
Is it Chopra?
No.
It's something.
But I can see the name. It's very long. I can see the name. I'll send it to you, then you put it down the link.
I'll definitely, we'll be down here.
The Science of Everything is a beautiful book.
It sounds like a beautiful title. I think I'd go deep into that as well.
Oh, and another calculated book for me was The Secret Supper by Javier Sierra.
The Secret Supper?
Yeah, it is about... remember Dan Brown's book, Da Vinci Code?
Wow. I'm actually watching a new series by Dan Brown, but
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it talks about how the Last Supper, the image by Leonardo da Vinci, how it came about. So I just loved how they created small nuances in terms of the journey of the painting.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoyed. There's one more book actually, by Eric Munyeni, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Omandingo.
Omandingo.
Yeah.
Okay.
It talks about Black culture, South African Black culture, and especially in the 1970s to 1990s in terms of oppression, but how he talks about it and relationships that he's built and his personal understanding of himself and the world. That is, for me, priceless. That's why I really, really love that book.
I think
for me, to be honest, everyone has to read it.
I'm definitely gonna find it and read it for myself.
Yeah. When I finish it, I'll lend it to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Because I was like, where am I gonna find it? Because African literature is so challenging to find at times. Because yes, they are, you'll find an African bookstore here and there, but there's not enough of them.
No.
I mean, for us to be in Africa and to struggle to find African literature, it's a very scary thing. Very scary thing. What are your top favorite local, and by local we both know that we're talking African, services or products? Brands.
I'll start with fashion. One designer that I wholeheartedly respect, Tebi Mabuku. His thought process of how he built his brand and the narratives across all of his collections for me are calculated and speak to who he is as a person and where he comes from. And for me, narrative, again, as I said, is important. Right? In terms of food, I love food, I love cooking, but Kalahari time. They make amazing food. I love.
Okay. Okay.
Other services. I really focus on supporting a lot of local services. Be it graphic design, be it either shoemakers, bag makers. If I feel like I can resonate to your brand and I have the resources, financial resources, I will definitely support you.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I focus on that.
Yeah.
And again, when you mean local, I mean in Africa, in its entirety. A lot of my rings are from. This is from Kenya. These are from Kenya. I think I bought this. I remember I bought this in Sun City, but they said it's from Cameroon.
Yeah.
So for me, and also like fashion in Africa, right? And when I mean fashion in Africa, okay, quote unquote, they'll say traditional. I don't like using the word traditional because it has a derogatory comment in terms of clothing that comes from Africa. But for the purposes of everyone to understand, like traditional regalia from all around Africa, I collect. I love.
Yeah, man. I mean, African fabrics are really
beautiful.
Amazing. Like the colors, it's just like Africa itself. Very vibrant, very full of life. Yeah. What's your relationship with money?
I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Okay, please elaborate a little.
Okay, the main thing about money, I think I mentioned this earlier, is it creates independence, right?
Indeed.
And that's where we all strive. We work hard to have independence so that we can do what we want to do. Be it going out, reading a book, buying that book, going to goodness knows where you want to go to.
However you want to spend your leisure time,
But there's a sense of balance as a creative that one needs to learn in terms of being conscientious about money.
Definitely.
And there are times whereby I also struggle myself because I don't get a consistent income.
Indeed.
For me, it is when my client says, I need work from you, that's when I get money. And it's finding that balance of, okay, this month in terms of your expenses and how much you're getting, how do you balance that?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a thing of, because for me the main thing is I don't look at money as wealth. Number one.
It's a tool.
It's a tool, and that's where I think my energy lies on Gucci. Spend your money and it's fine. Like sometimes I feel like I don't have this conscientious mind that is needed.
Yes. For money's sake,
Because for me money is a means to an end. Money is for me to be independent, and I have it, and I'll do whatever I need to do.
And any little change, any small money.
Exactly.
Yeah, you go enjoyment. It's not enjoyment.
110%.
Right.
But on the other end is to support your business, to grow your
business. Reinvestment.
Balance. Yes. Balance of sorts. Yes.
Oh, definitely. No, I think we definitely, as creatives, a lot of us are not very conscious of money, or even just how I was telling one of my guests, I have attraction to money. I can attract it, but keeping it is the challenge, and also investing it in the right places is where I'm learning to do more, because man, as a creative, you want to enjoy life as well, because part of being creative is the enjoyment of life, because you, like you said earlier on, you draw from the enjoyment of life.
Definitely.
So you touched on it a little earlier. What's your definition of wealth? But maybe let's get into the music that you like. Which songs? What songs? Or is there a particular genre? Is there a lyric in a song that really pumps you up? Which songs are those?
I can never answer that.
Okay.
No,
Let's go for 10. Not 10 of your favorite, but 10 that come from to your mind right now.
Okay, let me start with your first part of your question.
Yeah.
In terms of genre.
Yeah.
I'm not genre specific.
Cool.
But I can't say I listen to everything. Right?
Yeah.
When it comes, When I like, and when it resonates
Indeed.
with me.
Whether it's jazz, classical,
Gafan.
or Bakanga.
Gafan.
All right.
Well, but from like you just mentioned classical, that I have a personal relationship with because my mom used to play classical music when we were babies.
Oh wow. Okay.
To when we were restless.
Yeah.
You know,
to calm you
yeah,
down.
to calm me down.
Okay.
So that's when I start. Both of us went to do piano lessons, but not for a long time.
Okay.
And that's why I have a vast affinity to classical music because of the journey in my life.
Your early exposures to it. Yeah.
So there, I can definitely say I have a personal experience there, but other particular types of music is for the love of music, essentially.
Okay.
So that for argument's sake, on my Spotify, I think I have maybe about 45 playlists that I generally listen to in a specific mood, or if I'm playing music for my friends, or I'm by myself, or I'm creating a dinner party. It depends. Now you say top 10 songs. Yo. Okay.
Wamaj.
Okay.
Wamaj.
I won't even say Wamaj.
Okay.
I would say they come to my mind.
Okay. Lungin.
Standing in the Lose of Control by The Gossip. Lion Lahavas Lost and Found. I'm just spitballing right now.
Yeah.
Gorillas Feel Good Inc. What's that person's name? Okay, scratch that because I can't remember the artist now.
Let's say name one more and leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I can go.
You definitely look like you're about to go on for a little while.
Jessie Ware. What's that song again? Desire. Killers to 5.
Right.
And then yes. What's that name? Life by Ludwiko Einaudi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm doing this because it introduces me to music that will help me be creative as well. But also, like drawing connections. I mean, it's nice to see. Look at someone that you might assume just listens to whatever music, and then you're like, oh, you listen to classical music? Yeah. That's dope. And that's also a way you can connect with people. Definitely. I know. What's your definition of wealth? You touched on it earlier.
Because I touched on it, I just want to
elaborate.
For me, definition of wealth is creating independence for myself by using either money as a resource or any other resources in my life. But the main aspect of my definition of wealth is the human interactions I create for myself, so that when I leave you and when you leave me, we've touched each other's souls, so that we can create or take the baton and give it to someone else. I will never not that type of person. Okay. Whatever wealth I have, quote unquote, for me, I need to share it, and sharing my resources is my version of wealth.
That is beautiful. I really love that. Okay, that's how we come to an end of today's show. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hey, some of you wake up very early when we upload this content. Thank you very much. Please like, Re kopa le share, re kopa le comment at the bottom there. Anything you like, anything you'd like to add, any positive feedback or negative, hey man, critique is critique nonetheless. And we grow from it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Ke tlo bua le Sifiso so that I look better because he's gonna star me and stuff. But and as they say, so and how I'd like to add to that is so ipele nya inklupeko. Sharp sharp.